Morning everyone on this very lovely sunny day. Welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel if you're new here. If you're not, welcome back. It's nice to have you here again. So today we're going to be talking about my May TBR because I have a little bit of a specific thing that I'm trying to do in May. So part of my May TBR is going to be determined by a podcast that I listen to, the podcast that I listen to, Books Unbound. They do this thing every May called Mashed Potato May, and it's not where you try and eat as many mashed potatoes as you can. No, they have this thing that they call mashed potato books. Essentially, I'm not going to tell you the whole backstory, but essentially it is the books that you keep putting off reading even though you really want to read them. So some of my books on my list here, which you can see behind me, are on that. The other books are from my 26 Classics in 2026 challenge. And that's about it. That's all. That's all that's determining my reading this month, or at least my planned reading. If I read more than this, I'll be so happy. But the likelihood of that happening, I think, is not very large. So let's get into it, shall we? I'm going to have to dismantle my beautiful stack here behind me to take all the books down. So, no more background decorations for you, I'm sorry. Actually, I do have one single background decoration I could move. My little flower. It's not a great replacement, but it's at least something. So, let's start from my two classics that I want to read for the 26 classics. There's more classics on here because apparently this is the year of the classics. But anyway, next on my list for May, I just realized that actually I forgot. I'm still busy reading Greengage Summer by Rumer Godden. I wanted to finish this in April, I just didn't get around to it. I'm halfway through, so I have the other half to finish. It's about 120 pages or so, I think, that I still need to finish. So I'm not exactly halfway through, but it's there. So I still need to finish this one, sadly. Then, where can I put, I've really not planned this very well. Where can I put all my books? They're put on the other side of my lap. After that, I have to get around to reading A Pale View of the Hills by Kazuo. Wow, that just broke my brain for a second. By Kazuo Ishiguro. I'm really excited to read this book. I have absolutely no idea what it's about, but I have had the trailer for the movie that they're making about this saved to my Watch Later playlist on YouTube for about half a year now, and I haven't watched the trailer because I don't want to know anything about the story before I go into it, before I read the book. So I read the book, then I can see when the movie is being released. Possibly it has been released already. I'm not sure. It was a trailer for the TIFF Film Festival, and I'm not sure exactly when in the year that film festival is. So it might already have been released. It might be only being released later this year. Nonetheless, I'm going to read the book first and then watch the film and then see if they are comparable and see if I like them. Whoa, there's a bookmark in here. Ah, I bought this at Daunt Books in Notting Hill. That's where I bought this book when I was in London with my sister last December. Cute. I like that I left the bookmark in there. I totally forgot about that. Nice. Okay, hold on. Go back in bookmark. Then, after A Pale View of the Hills, I have to read Dubliners by Joyce. And isn't this just the most beautiful cover you have ever seen in your life? No, you don't think so? Well, I think so, okay? I think this is the most beautiful cover. Dubliners, as far as I know, is a collection of short stories about different people living in Dublin. And I'm really excited to read it. I've never read anything by Joyce. This will be my proverbial dipping my toe into the James Joyce ocean, or pond, lake, sea. I don't know how many books he wrote. So the size of the body of water depends on the amount of books that he wrote. Why am I making up all these strange metaphors today? Anyway, I'm excited to read this one. I think also it will be quite a quick read since they are just a bunch of short stories. So it will be quick to get through a short story a day or so. Maybe 2 short stories a day, depending on how in the mood to read I feel. Then, my next classic, which isn't on my 26 classics in 2026 list, but I do want to read it this year. And I did try to start reading it last year, but I was, at that point, when I tried to start reading it, it was not the right time. I was too exhausted at the time that I tried to start reading it. So, we're going to try again this year, and hopefully it is the better time. Or the right time, at least. It's To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. With another really beautiful cover. I love these covers. Who did these books? Well, Vintage Classics, who are an imprint of whom? Probably Penguin Random House. Hello? Yep. Vintage Classics is part of the Penguin Random House group of companies. Okay. Anyway. Excited about this one. And if all goes to plan, I will be reading 2 Virginia Woolfs this year, which is very exciting for me. Then, next up on my list, that was one of the mashed potato books, by the way, because Virginia Woolf in my life is just a mashed potato author, because I want to read all of her books, and then I have her books. I have 3 of her books on my shelves right now, and I just don't read them, because I'm scared that when I have finished reading it, then I won't be able to have the experience of reading it for the first time again. Am I the only person? I can't be. Well, clearly, since a whole podcast have decided to create a name for this, I know that I'm not alone in the fact that we put off the books that we're really excited about. Do you do this too? Please let me know. Because it can't only be a few of us. It has to be the majority of us, right? Right? Anyway, the next book is The Night Ocean by Paul Lafarge. I've had this book, a little bit of a optical illusion. I've had this book on my bookshelves for many years now. And I've always been intrigued by this story. The story is about a man who... Is it a man? Yes, a man who becomes obsessed with H.P. Lovecraft and then disappears. And everybody's saying that this man committed suicide. But his wife is convinced that that was not the truth, and now she has to go on an adventure, on a journey to figure out what really happened to her husband. And everything else that happens along the way. And probably she finds out a lot about H.P. Lovecraft along the way as well, I'm assuming. And since I read the back of this at the bookshop when I bought this book many years ago, I have been so intrigued by the story, or by the concept of the story, and I just keep not reading it. So, this month is the month that I'm going to be reading this book. I'm also realizing, when I looked at this list before, I thought I had quite a lot of big books on this list. But it's actually just this one and the next one. The others are all quite small, but probably quite dense, especially To the Lighthouse. It's going to be packed to the brim. But anyway, I'm really excited about this book. Also, this book has the best thing in the world, which is great floppage. Great floppage. Then, the next book has no floppage at all, because it's a hardcover. But anyway, the next book is A Different Kind of Power by Jacinda Ardern. And did she have a co-author? I don't think so. I think she wrote this by herself. Or she had a ghostwriter and they just didn't mention it. But I feel like she probably would have written this herself. Does it say anything? It doesn't say anything. Editor. Proofreaders? Nope. It says nothing about a ghostwriter. So we're just gonna go with my assumption that Jacinda Ardern wrote this all herself. It is a memoir about her life, her growing up. I don't know if it's about her growing up really. It's probably mostly about her time as Prime Minister of New Zealand. I recently, at the start of the year, was it at the start of the year? I think so, or right at the end of last year, I watched the memoir about her, and now I don't even remember what it's called, but I will put the picture up on the screen. And I really, not to beat around the bush, fell in love with her a little bit, and her way of being and her way of interacting with people. I think if more people in the world who are our leaders were like Jacinda Ardern in their heart or in their dealings with people. I know she isn't popular across the board in New Zealand. I know there's a lot of people who didn't like her during her term, or who came to not like her during her term as Prime Minister. But I think the majority of people, probably in New Zealand, hopefully, and also around the world, like her and think she was a very good leader, and probably think that she's just a good person. So I want to find out more. That's basically what it is. I'm not usually one to read celebrity memoirs that much. I prefer to read memoirs of people I've never heard of, because I find that they often have way more interesting stories to tell. But she's kind of not a celebrity. I mean, she is kind of now, because she's a political celebrity, if you will, because she had a very specific goal in mind when it came to COVID and trying to make sure that her country stayed COVID-free. And also, I don't know, just her whole leadership style in comparison with some of the other leaders in power today. It's very different. And she has been doing press a lot since her book has been released. So she's kind of become a little bit of a celebrity. But I feel like she's still a more normal human than other celebrities. And has a more normal life. That's actually what I'm getting at. So, I'm excited to see just exactly what it is that makes her the way she is, hopefully. Hopefully that's what I'll find out in this book. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll find out something completely different. But until then, I'm just gonna say that that's what it is. Anyway. Oh, we have to try and get all of the books, without dropping them into the frame. This is my March TBR. March? What? I've just gone back in time 2 months. It's May, not March. Wow. I'm losing my mind. Can you tell, guys? This is going to be my May TBR. I'm excited about it. I'm excited. And I'm gonna do my very best to finish this top one, the Greengage Summer, as soon as possible, so that I can start on the other ones, so that I can finish them all this month. Hopefully, if all goes well, it's gonna go well. I'm just gonna say it's gonna go well, because all of these books are books I'm excited about. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed my book stack. I hope maybe I have introduced you to some books that you may consider picking up. I will let you know all my thoughts about them, obviously, as I read them, as per usual. But until then, take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you in the next video. Cheers.